You've just been freed after centuries of slavery. The dust is settling, but who are you now if you're not a slave? The very first command to this new nation isn't about laws or land, it's about memory. And what happens next is a masterclass in how to build an identity that survives for millennia. Let's get into it. Scent of slavery. Over. Pharaoh broken. The gates are open. But freedom creates a crisis that no one talks about. If you've only ever been a slave, you don't automatically know how to be free. You need a new identity. And the very first command God gives this brand new nation isn't about military strategy or legal codes. It's this: do not forget where you came from. And remembering, it turns out, requires practice. You can't just tell people to remember. Memory fades, so God turns it into a ritual embedded in the most basic daily habit: eating bread. For 7 days, remove every trace of yeast from your home. Eat flatbread, and when your children ask why, tell them the story. The memory isn't stored in a book on a shelf. It's built directly into family life, repeated year after year, generation after generation. But why bread? Why yeast specifically? They left Egypt in such a hurry that the bread had no time to rise. So every year, eating flatbread physically reenacts that urgency. But it goes deeper. Yeast becomes a symbol of the old, puffed-up life of Egypt. Getting rid of it means actively purging the past. The taste of the bread triggers the telling of the story. Memory becomes sensory, and what you feel in your body, you don't easily forget. But the next command goes even deeper, straight to the cost of their freedom. The second command: dedicate every firstborn to God. It points directly back to the final plague, the night Egypt lost its firstborn, so Israel could go free. The law is essentially a living, breathing mirror of that night, and God anticipates the question kids will inevitably ask: why do we do this? The answer is the whole story. The law and the lesson are inseparable, but the rules of dedication are more nuanced than they first appear. Firstborn animals go directly to God. Firstborn sons must be bought back, redeemed. Even the donkey gets specific treatment. Redeem it with a lamb or it dies. Every distinction carries weight, because the core message underneath all of it is this: Israel's firstborn are alive because Egypt's firstborn died. Freedom was not free. These living children are a permanent, walking reminder of exactly what it cost. With the memory established and the price acknowledged, the journey finally begins. The most direct route out of Egypt runs straight through enemy territory, and God deliberately steers them away from it, not because he can't handle the enemy, but because a nation of slaves who just got free is not ready for war. They might panic, they might turn back. The fastest path isn't always the right one. Sometimes the detour is the most merciful option available, and as they move, Moses carries something extraordinary. Moses carries the bones of Joseph. Generations earlier, Joseph made his family swear an oath: when God brings you out, take my remains with you. That promise was kept. Through 4 centuries of slavery, someone held on to those bones. Now they move toward the promised land, carrying their past literally in their hands, a physical thread connecting who they were to where they're going. And they don't travel alone or directionless. By day, a pillar of cloud leading the way. By night, a pillar of fire giving light and warmth. Never absent, never pausing. A nation that has never navigated freedom before, Israelites were given powerful rituals so they would never forget their defining story. So here's the question that lands closest to home. What are the stories that anchor your identity? And what are you doing to make sure they survive you? We've walked through the architecture of memory, the price of freedom, and the beginning of a journey guided by fire and cloud. From flatbread to Joseph's bones, every detail is designed to make sure no one ever forgets. Before you go, 2 questions to sit with. First, the Israelites were given physical rituals, taste, habit, repetition, to keep their story alive. What practices in your own life are actively keeping your most important memories and values alive, or are they slowly fading? Second, God took the longer, harder route to protect a people who weren't ready for what the shortcut would cost them. Is there a detour in your life right now that feels like a delay, but might actually be protection? 2 questions. Breathe and let them sink in.